All right, so volleyball, our primary sport, for those of our viewers who don't already know that, this is the sport that has helped us become professional athletes and
No doubt.
helped, become businesses for us. And it's a sport that's growing right now. Beach volleyball is the number one growing sport in the NCAA. Volleyball viewership is improving as every Olympic year comes around. And right now, there's this really large push for professional volleyball in the United States. So
About time.
there's been many leagues over time who've tried to do this.
Yeah.
And there's leagues currently trying to do it. But right now, there's a unique opportunity on the women's side by a company called Love Volleyball, or Love Foundation, that is has an influx of money coming in and sponsorship and branding and venture capitalism to try to really, really, really create something that's sustainable. So you have some notable sports figures who've started to invest money in non-sports figures. So Kevin Durant is in on it, Joe Burrow's family. You have Jason Derulo. And a number of other people who are starting to put money at this. So what have you heard about it so far? What are your feelings on it? And what do you think is going to happen with the volleyball world?
I just know that there's like three different women's professional leagues coming up. One of them I'm forgetting about, but I know that there's also the AU Athletes Unlimited. And so I think it's kind of like all these leagues are going to try to grow, and then eventually like some are going to fall and some are going to keep rising, or they're just going to get bought out by the better league.
Exactly.
So with the Love situation, they're going in through like the club route. So they're going in and they're buying clubs, and then they're trying to churn out their teams kind of like a grassroots type of deal, similar to the way beach volleyball is going.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good idea. It's just, can you get the fans to come, and can we get arenas, and can we get obviously TV time? Like TV time has been the biggest issue for volleyball to get no matter what, and I think now that's finally coming. So hopefully we get one league that ends up being superior on the women's side, and then we can see it go nationwide.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say you're 100% right on that. You have the situation where in the past people have tried to make it where they want to create a league, and so that part starts with the right reasons.
Yeah.
They want to make a league, but then the biggest issue is they're like, well, I want people to know that I'm in charge of it, and I want people to know that it's my league, and I'm funding it,
Yeah,
and
I'm
so like
running
I'm
it.
gonna approve everything. And so this whole concept of bringing somebody in from the outside who's not a volleyball player, honestly,
Yeah.
they're just coming in, they're a business person, and they're going, look, we're gonna look at the way that professional sports have had success, and we're gonna go create our success based on the way
try
professional
to
sports have
follow
had
that.
success. And then it can start to build that way. And of course, you need to have three things, in my opinion. Number one is you have to have the largest influences in the sport. So traditionally, people have tried to build their own little thing with their name as the brand or their brand as a brand, and then they'll bring in a popular person here and there and think that's gonna like blow it up. Like in the past, I remember they would have NVL. Would be like, we're gonna bring Phil Dahlhauser and Todd Rogers for one tournament.
Yeah.
It's like people are not gonna stick off of one tournament with people who they don't really know. Like people know Phil and Todd from the Olympics. That was a 2-week tournament that happens once every 4 years. Like all the names we've talked about thus far, Patrick Mahomes, Anthony Edwards, Shohei Ohtani, these are household names. People who don't even follow
know who
sports
they
know these
are.
names, right? So in volleyball, you have to get the majority. You have to get the majority and go, hey, all the national team players, all the best pro players, all the best college players, all the best
full
youth
buy-in.
players,
Yeah.
you have to go like this.
Yeah.
And their timing is perfect because we're in the social media era. It gives people the opportunity to click a button, figure out who these people are. Where 12 years ago, it wasn't as easy.
I don't think there is patience in trying to build a professional program, whether it's women's or men's volleyball. Like, we have to understand that this is like a 20, 30-year process.
Yeah.
Like, how long did it take us to get MLS off the ground?
Yeah.
Like, how long has the Galaxy Stadium been in Carson, and it took so long to get fans to really start to come into soccer.
Yeah.
And now we have 2 soccer teams in Los Angeles. We got LAFC over there as well, the full stadium. So I think it's just understanding that we're on a long time horizon, and it's going to take time to go across the country instead of being like, we need to be big now.
Yeah.
There needs to be patience.
You're right about that part. I
No
mean,
doubt.
obviously, you and I both want to see volleyball win. It helps us in a lot of ways. It's a sport that we're passionate about. It's a sport that helped us become professional athletes. It's a sport that helps us fund our lives.
No doubt.
But ultimately, volleyball is a thing that's exciting, and in volleyball, the people who haven't seen it, there's a lot of jumping, there's a lot of moving, there's a lot of loud sound, there's a lot of like head-to-head, bang-bang.
Fast game.
And it's only going to get more so that way with people are starting to introduce more tricks, more dynamicness. And that can only happen if you have the technicality. So just like in basketball, if you don't have dribble with your left, dribble with your right, pull-up jumper, layups. You can't shoot step back, fade away, crossover threes. In football, if you can't run a straight L route, like straight and then go to the left and catch the ball, you're not going to be able to run these route trees and have quarterbacks getting out of the pocket and scrambling. And in volleyball, my biggest hesitation with the way the volleyball is going right now is there's a lot of promotion of people training like pros when they're 10, 11,
Super
13, 12.
young.
Yeah, train like a pro. Do what the pros do.
Yeah.
And that's going to create a really sloppy, ugly game where the prettiest volleyball you watch, if you go to a club tournament and you watch the historical Balboa Bay teams, it's ball control. It's shuffle, pass, clean route sets, really clean swings.
Yeah.
Women's game's the same. Like when you just watch highlights of, oh, on Instagram, I saw this girl jump over another girl and like punch it back over the net. And people go, oh, it's so exciting. Millions and millions of views. I go, that's not high-level volleyball. High-level volleyball is the ability to like cleanly move, get the ball in front of you, jump straight up and down, deliver a set, and swing clean to the ground, land cleanly. Like if you could replicate that, people would not feel like this is boring. They'd be like, this is so poetry in motion.
That's fundamentals. Like nobody likes to see fundamentals.
Right.
So that ends up being the issue because I talk to players about that all the time. Like, hey, like you got to finish that pass. You got to finish the way that you're gonna hit that ball. And then similar in basketball. So all these players in basketball, they want to shoot the three, but nobody wants to hold their release because everybody wants to celebrate right after the ball gets released. They're released and then they pull the arms down. They're already prepared to celebrate. And I'm like, no. I was like, you saw Curry do that. You saw Harden do that. But you're forgetting that they've been doing like held finishes for years. So then they know when they release the ball that it's good and they drop their hands. I was like, you're not there yet.
Right.
So it's understanding that even in volleyball, like if you stay fundamental, the game's going to be better.
Yeah.
And even like watching, we were talking about earlier, like watching Ingapeth play from France, outside hitter. Like he was just, saw him literally just make a pass, boom. He went outside and he wasn't running. He wasn't rushing the route. He was slow walking, step close, crush the ball cross court. Like just regular volleyball, but it looked good. He knew what he was doing.
Yep, I mean, you're right about that. It's the ability to be able to do things in real time that are quicker, like quicker releases, get on to your next job quicker. It comes from having the confidence of holding it. Like I've been fortunate enough to watch a Steph Curry like workout in real time, and people wouldn't believe. Like people would not believe like the details, the intricacies, the holds, the finishes, the strength. Because they just see the goofiness, right? They see the like, ooh, I'm across you. Oh, let me run away without the ball, and then I'm gonna pull off in the corner and like look towards the crowd. It's like, that's all for the show. That's all for the bringing the fans and the crowd. Like in his workouts, it's serious. It's no talking. It's like only swishes count. If the ball clips the rim, it doesn't even count as a make. Like that's, people can't understand. But we want to use this.
What do you think about the no double on the set?
Like here's my opinion. Anything that they're doing right now to take refs out of the game, I think has the potential to be positive. However, anything that is going to lead to bad decision making by coaches, I think is not positive. So what I mean when I say that is less whistles is a positive thing. Allowing the game to flow. Like who wants to watch a game where there's a rally back and forth and the crowd gets into it and then a girl doubles and the ref goes and the rally's over? It's you go, come on, like no, let the players end the thing. However, my opinion is people won't choose, hey, even though doubles are allowed, I'm still going to pick the most technically clean player. I'm still going to pick the player who delivers the best ball.
Clean, yeah.
People are going to naturally start to go, okay, I can bring in my 6'5" setter. I can get my 6'5" lefty going who doesn't have hand. And it's like, volleyball is going to be at its best when the players manipulating the ball have true control.
Yeah.
Like true command of the ball, true command of the ball, true command of the ball. Like once we started to get into this space, you saw it go this way and it started to tail back the other way where it was like, okay, everybody's got to be Russia style. 7 feet, 6'10". The women need to be 6'4". And you saw it go that way because everybody was going that way and it was a little sloppy, but like you had a couple wins. and then everything tailed back when
To
like the ball control players were
Yeah,
like,
you
nah,
get
nah,
ball control.
we're gonna find a way.
Yeah.
And now, okay, that they've started to allow these tips and these throwdowns and these rolls, which I think should also be outlawed. If I were the person making,
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the set over for points now.
If I was the volleyball commission and I were making the decision, there'd be three big things that I would change. Number one would be I would make the net go all the way to the ground, not like have any kind of airspace so people can interact under the net. I'd make the net go all the way to the floor like it is in tennis.
Yeah.
That way people started to set the ball off the net and play the game off the net. And if
Yeah.
you jump towards the net, it's Nemo. Like you're in the net literally falling on the ground. Like
Yeah.
that would limit the injuries. That would limit the ugly tight sets where people can't really make dynamic plays and like get their elbow back. And more than anything, it helps be able to create a little bit more intrigue of the ball going back and forth over the net, like tennis, more rallies. The second thing I would change is I would make indoor rules how they are on the beach. I would make it where you're not allowed to pass the ball with your hands, or finger action.
Yeah.
You have to either close hand tomahawk or you're passing with your platform. And that would make, again, players have to have ball control. They'd have to spend time where they wouldn't be able to quick fix, like you see in the men's game and the women's game.
You grab the ball.
And the last thing I would change is making it to where on offense you can't, so same as beach, you can't use finger action. So you can poke, you can use open hand, you can hit, you can slap, but you cannot use your fingers. Because my opinion is while there's more kills in the game right now, there's more dynamic things. Oh, you can throw in the center, you can let it drift to your left arm, you could play into the block, whatever. To me, it takes out the allure of the game because the people who are not artistic with it, it just creates ugliness. Like you see it when you go to little club tournaments, like people literally jumping and throwing, and the ref's like, I don't know if I should call it, not call it, and there's this, whoa, that was a throw.
And that's the rough part because I don't think that they've made it to that line of understanding like when it's a throw and when it's not a throw.
Yeah, and they're not going to. Like it's too subjective.
I think to me it's more clear, but also like I play middle, so that means I'm dealing with different kind of sets on a regular basis. So I'm like having to move balls around on a tip if I can't necessarily take a swing. And so that's what I'm trying to get across to my athletes these days, because they're like going up and they're kind of doing the throw tip, and I'm like, no, that's a throw. Like they're gonna call you for a lift, and my players are looking at me and they're like astonished. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I made a career out of this.
Right.
Like I made a career out of not being in a good situation, knowing where to put the ball, and then putting the ball there. And so I think the issue is that like some of the refs aren't calling stuff that looks like water polo. Like looks like your arm's going back, you took the ball back and it went forward. I'm like, if you want to tip the ball, then it has to be in front of your shoulder.
Yeah.
If it's in front of your shoulder, there's one motion down. Once it's above, you most likely are going to come back. And at that point, I think it's a lift.
Yeah. I'd like it if they took out like open hand all the way because it takes out subjectivity. Like I said at the beginning of this, I believe parity and subjectivity helps interest in the game to a degree.
Yeah.
But anytime we're creating questions of was that legal and was that not legal, and it can't be answered with a subjective answer, it slows the game down, in my opinion. And so if people had to train in a fashion like beach, there's no question. You run into the open hand situation once every 6 months.
It's rare.
On beach. Like, wait, was that?
Because it's got to be simultaneous.
Yeah, people know. People know, like, yo, I cannot do this. But indoor, it's gotten too subjective. And honestly, if I'm being honest, it's not artistic to me. I don't like it. There are people out there who enjoy the like, ooh, tip and roll and open up the can. I'm like, no, manipulate the ball with your palm and show me like how much control you can have with your palm. Can you hit a driven ball off speed, play into the block, chip it off the block, go inside the block, over the block, like all with palm manipulation? That's how I'd like to see it. But we'll see how the game develops.
I like it. I think it should still be there. But that's because we're playing a 6-on-6 game and not a 2-on-2 game.
Right.
There should be no open hand action in a 2-on-2 game. There's too much sand.
Yeah.
There's one person blocking. There's one person covering the entire court. But you got potentially 4 to 5 other people to cover the court. I think you can do some open hand stuff. It just has to be clear that it's in front and not like over your head throwing stuff. So I would definitely be like, hey, if it's not in front, like call lift immediately.
Right.
But that's my opinion.